Hello, my name is Sienna. Because of the coronavirus, I have lost opportunity to explain you about the Korean history. So, by this video, I want to tell you about Korean culture and history. Today, I'll be docent of Korean Fortress Wall as the Youth Culture Heritage Commentator. I'm a student in International Exchange and Culture Promotion Institution. I'm in the third grade of middle school. Today I will talk about three things. First, what is the Palace of Korea? Second, how does the Fortress Wall of Korea looks like? And third, there are few cases that our fortress wall had burned down to the past. So I want to tell you about these three things today. Let's go! In Korea, we call the palace where the king lived as 궁궐. 궁궐 is the combination of the words 궁 meaning the palace and 궐 meaning wall and gate. So, we can guess the fortress wall was as important as the buildings in palace. In Seoul, there are 5 palaces. If you want to know the reason why they built 5 palaces in one town, you have to understand this system. Seoul was the main city of Old Korea. It's because the city was surrounded by 4 mountains, had a favorable terrain to prevent foreign invaders, and the inner waterway joined the Han River and then ran to the West Sea. So it provided the city with convenient water transportation. For these reasons, Seoul was the main city of Korea. And the Korean palaces were based on dual palace system. There were the primary palaces and the secondary palaces. The primary one was the core residence assigned for governing, and the secondary palace was used as extra one in case of emergencies. For example, political situations or an outbreak of disease. So there were many palaces in Seoul. From now, I will tell you about the fortress walls. This is the picture of fortress that surrounds the whole city. The purple line in the picture shows the wall. The fortress wall like this is extraordinary because this fortress wall climbed and crossed several mountains and it embraced the city. This wall is called Fortress Wall of Seoul. Seoul was the oldest capital city in the world. It has 600 years of history inside. And also, the fortress wall has long history. Our fortress does not damage nature, and you can see the scenery of Seoul inside the palace. It means that the wall doesn't block the scenery like this. And there is one interesting fact. If you look few pictures of the fortress wall of Seoul, you can find there are little difference between fortification methods. The first method was built during King Taejo, and second one was built during King Sejong, and the third one was built during King Sukjong. Like this, the fortress walls are very important heritage that we should protect. We can see the lifestyle of ancestors and their style of architecture can be foundation of new style of architect. But there are some cases that development is valued than operation. Did you heard of DDP in Korea? I will show you the picture. This is Big Plaza in Seoul. Before this was built, there was an old stadium. And when we tried to demolish the old stadium and build DDP, we found a part of fortress wall and the water gate. But people just moved those heritage to another place and they continued to build DDP. If you see this picture, the water gate is inside of plaza. We can't feel that this is a historical site. And the fortress wall, like in this video, it has squeezed out. Naturally, this is one of an example that we failed to preserve our historical place. Like I said before, there was a stadium before we built DDP. And if we wanted to restore the stadium, we wouldn't have found the legacy and we would have failed to get the fortress wall out of the ground. That's because the football field was covering the fortress wall and the baseball field was covering the two historic sites. And after finding the fortress wall, many people rejected to building a new plaza. Nevertheless, government continued to build a new plaza. Of course, this new plaza was also important to us, but I think remaining the historical sites is more important than building new plaza. Many other countries are trying hard to protect the heritage than developing the city. Without fancy buildings, we could be more famous by our history. Nowadays, I think people need to slow down and look around the scenery of old things. The harmony between preservation and development is most important task to us. Thank you for listening.